Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Zach. Tonight, I've got a pretty cool episode, the live stream review, and that is going to be the Wilson Rush Pro 3.5, and that is the Britto edition. All right, this is a Brazilian artist that they got to design some clothing, some rackets, and some shoes, and I was able to get a pair of the shoes in my size miraculously. I've been getting a ton of comments asking me to review the Wilson Rush Pro 3.0s, 3.5s, the 2.5s. I just kind of hesitated just because they're kind of a ubiquitous shoe. A lot of people have them. So I kind of figured it was kind of done already. But I did want to try the 3.5s because the uppers were a little bit different. And there is a lot to talk about in Wilson shoes, specifically this shark fin shank right here. Which is pretty interesting. And I have a cut up version of these right here. And I really want to talk about this because these shoes, what's inside them is going to really make or break the shoe for you. If you're going to like it or you're not. If you saw some of my stories on the YouTube channel and the stories page, as well as maybe over on Instagram, I kind of showed some of my playing with these and some of my thoughts already. So you kind of might have some idea what I'm going to say about these. But if you're watching this on the replay, everything's going to be time stamped, and I'm going to do my review first, and then we'll take Q&A after. So if you just want to see what the shoe is like, you can just come in for this and then bounce unless you want to hear me talk about all things tennis and basketball shoes and whatever. I did make a post today in the community section asking for questions about these. I do have a list of them down here. If you have a question right now, you can always just put it in the chat right now. There's not a ton of people in the chat right now, so you'll be able to get your question answered. And like I said, I also have it on the YouTube channel comment section. But if you're going to ask a question, I just do it in the chat right now. So, all right, I'm going to go over just the stats of these really quick, just so for people on the replay as well. So you have these. All right, so the 3.5s are a little bit of a lighter shoe. These come in at only 12.7 ounces, which is actually pretty good for the durability they have. Actually, it's this one right here. So if you look at the upper durability test, this is a 2-layer DuraGuard right here. It did not go through, it almost got to that first rubber of the first layer, but it didn't actually get through the first layer. Almost the same as the Diadora Blue Shield 5s, not as durable though. And then on the outsole durability test, you can see, I'm trying to get it to the camera, a little over a millimeter, between like a millimeter and 2 millimeters of damage. Now, I've played with these a few times already, so the durability profile is not going to be as good as it was before it got ripped up by a really gritty indoor hard court. And we'll talk about that too, because these are some of the most durable outsole treads you're going to get. But that actually does come with some negatives as well. The last is inflared. So if you do have, let me show you here. Everything's backwards for me. There we go. So as you can see, actually the red of this shoe kind of outlines it right here. So you can see it kind of makes an S. So this is an inflared last. So if you are a flatter foot or you're an out flared foot, these aren't going to fit you at all, especially because of this plastic clip right here. That's really going to dig into the outside of your foot. So if you're wide or have a really straight foot, these might dig in a little bit. The uppers on the 3.5s are actually a little bit nicer than on the 3.0s and the previous generations because they do breathe a lot better and they are a lot more comfortable. I mean, even with the pretty crazy paint job on these, which I actually kind of like. But these breathe so much better than the 3.0s and they accommodate feet better. So even like say you have a little bit of a higher arch like I do, you can actually be accommodated in the 3.5s much better than you could in the 3.0s and previous generations of these shoes before. Because I've had just about every Wilson Rush Pro shoe just because my buddy Mike is a Wilson rep, so he gets them all the time. So usually they would filter down to me, especially when I was working as a teaching pro in college with him. And just nowadays, like if he has shoes, he would throw them to me. And I did notice that the 3.5s are definitely the most comfortable of the Rush Pro line so far. They still are not like a super plush shoe, but 3.5s are a lot more durable, more comfortable. All right, so the shank we're going to talk about, that's kind of the main thing I want to talk about in the live stream today. And then let me just see here. Tread depth is 4.5 millimeters. And then on the suicide test, I got 15.12 seconds, which is honestly not all that fast. If you watched my Wilson Amplifeel 2.0 video, you'll know why. These shoes, even though the shank is pretty stiff, they don't give you a ton in terms of energy return. They are a little dead in that department. So I mean, 15.12 is not terrible, but not the best either. And then 26 centimeters on serve jump height test. Like I said, these numbers to me are a little surprising given the technology that's in the midfoot of this shoe. And like I said, we will talk about that. The tread, though, I will say, if you're looking for a shoe for all surfaces, this is pretty much the perfect all-court tread. You could play on pretty much any surface with these. So if you are looking for a true all-court shoe, this is pretty great. Okay. So in terms of the Brittos or the Rush Pro 3.5's playability, let me just cue up some scenes here for you, and we'll kind of watch these together. So they are nimble, right? They're a little bit lighter. They're not the most court feeling shoes out there because you do sit up a little bit higher in the midfoot. Here's another scene. That's the one you probably saw on Instagram. This is the one I kind of want to play for you again. This is what happens when you have really, really hard rubber outsole. It'll slip when you're first using them. You know, that Mike, who I was playing, asked me if I had slipped my racket. I had to watch this back again a few times, and I hadn't. It was the shoe slipping on the hard court because the rubber is so hard. It will sometimes slip out from underneath of you when you're first using them. So the Rush Pros and the Amplifeels, you're going to have to use them a few times before the rubber starts to degrade a little bit to where you can actually get more grip on the court because they are so hard. Now remember, the Rush Pro 3.5s do have a durability guarantee on them. And I know when I did my Amplifeel teardown, this is like back when I first started the channel, and I took the Dremel to them and they had over 1 millimeter of damage, and one of the reps was pretty mad at me for doing that, and he said, well, they have a durability guarantee. I said, that's great, but you know, the rubber, when it's new, is super slick and super hard, but at least to the Dremel test, it does start to degrade a little bit, but the rubber compound on it is just super tough. And one reason they did that was because you can use them on clay and on hard court as a full bed herringbone. So as a full bed herringbone shoe that you can use on all surfaces, it actually is a super durable shoe. So I really like that about them. And then let's go down to this scene here. There's a couple more examples. There I am falling again. And people on TikTok really like that. As you can see here, this is a return of serve point. It's nice getting down low with these. I wasn't having a ton of confidence getting low when the shoe was new. I'll just play this thing again. And so because the rubber is so hard on these, like I said, it just got a little bit difficult because I wasn't really sure if I was going to slip. And after about an hour, I started to feel a little bit better in them. But for a little while on the shoe, it just kind of felt, and you could see I'm kind of getting frustrated because I was losing more points than I could count. I'm only showing my good points here. So that's kind of my just brief overview of these shoes. In terms of fit, like I said, it is an inflared last shoe. So if you're a wide foot, you got to go up a half size, I would say. If you're really wide over a 2E, just better off looking for a different shoe. So that's kind of a thing there. If you're a higher arch person, probably not the best shoe for you. If you're flat, if you have a flatter foot, these are pretty decent because of the shank, which I'm going to talk about in a second. These are a pretty decent pickup for you if you are a flatter foot. I would put an orthotic in these for reasons I'll tell you in a second. But I would say higher arch, not great. Really wide foot, not great. If you're flatter or more neutral, they're fine. They're a great shoe to put a brace in and a great shoe to put an orthotic in because the ankle collar actually is pretty high. And as you can see here around the ankle collar, where the little livery is here for the Britto, it is actually pretty stiff. So you are going to be able to accommodate an orthotic really well. Okay. So, all right. Yeah, Cord FF2 is really great if you do want to slide. That is more of a... 1 second here. Sorry. Yeah, so I mean, the Cord FF2 is a really great shoe to slide in. I like the Cord FF2 to slide in because it grips from so many different angles on the shoe. Even on the medial side of the shoe, the tread goes all the way up onto the uppers. So the one thing I wanted to talk about really with this shoe on the stream is this shank right here. Okay, that's that shark fin shank that I talk about all the time. Now, what you might not know is this piece here, this shank here, and this clip here are all connected, right? So when I tore open one of the midsoles of these, here's the shark fin right here, right? And it's actually hollowed out in the middle. That's the save weight, which is actually a pretty decent design. But as you can see, that red goes all the way up here, right? All the way up here to where that lateral clip is, right there. And then it goes all the way, or I'm sorry, to the medial clip. That's that thing right there. That's what you're looking at. And then it goes to the lateral clip too. So you have plastic underneath your entire foot right here in the midfoot. Now, what this is great for is preventing midfoot sprains. So if you're someone that's worried about rolling their midfoot or spraining their midfoot, twisting your midfoot, maybe you've got some issues with like an unstable big toe joint or anything like that, then these shoes are going to give you pretty much the best security of your midfoot that you could possibly have. There's really no other shoe that has a midfoot support system like these. I haven't seen really anything close, maybe the Sole Court Boost, but especially for the weight of the shoe, coming in under 13 ounces for a size 10.5, you really aren't going to get much better than this. However, on the same token, it makes the shoe incredibly uncomfortable for a lot of foot types. That's why I said if you're a high arched person and the ball of your foot is coming down on this all the time, it hurts after a while. It's hard to stand around in them, especially because that plastic goes so far in the shoe, right? That plastic's so far ingrained in the shoe that there's really no area where there isn't something really hard under your foot versus some other shoes like say the Adidas Sole Court Boost, because I have one, where you've got Boost foam in the back here. So even though this shank is super stiff and super supportive, in the back here you got the whole bed of Boost. So it actually feels really good. Even though you're getting all this support, it feels great. Whereas on the Rush Pros, there's like nowhere to hide for your foot. So like I said, if you're someone that's a teaching pro that plays a ton or wants to play on every surface, they're great, but you better put an orthotic in them. Even just something from Rite Aid or CVS, you live in the United States, any convenience store, just anything that has just a little bit of padding in it. Like it doesn't have to be like a custom orthotic or a Power Step or a Super Feet or anything like that, anything expensive. It can literally, you could just take like an insole from another shoe or something and put it in there. This is from the Jordan 36 I'm reviewing. But that's kind of what I would do, is make sure you got an orthotic in there, because remember the Wilson foam in the midfoot, or I'd say the midsole, is pretty hard too. So these are pretty unforgiving shoes. And the reason for that is the Rush Pro 3.0 and 3.5 are just as durable as something like the Blue Shield 5s, as the Sole Court Boost, as the Nike Vapor Cage 4, but it's so much lighter. And so that's where you have to sacrifice. If you want a really light shoe that's really durable, you're going to sacrifice comfort, because you really can't put the bells and whistles on it. It's just hard foam. So that's something you really got to kind of keep in mind there. So, all right. That's the shoe. Let's go to some Q&A here. I know the chat's kind of been lighting up. I'm sorry, I've been ignoring it. I've been trying to maintain eye contact and maintain my dominance. All right. Add to broadcast. Great. Could I please save the stream? Yeah, this is going to be saved. This will be in the live stream column, so you can watch this whenever you want. Yeah, here we go. So how's it compare to the Court FF2? That is a great question. Do I have the Court FF2 back here? Yep. Oh, what you don't see behind me is all my shoes. All right, so here's Court FF2, Rush Pro 3.5. So first thing, Rush Pro 3.5 is all herringbone. This is a wave pattern. If you just look at the shoes, the Court FF2 is just much more substantial than the Rush Pro 3.5. But the one thing you see on the Court FF2, let's look how much more tread you get up into here, and a little more durability up here in the uppers. Now the Court FF2 is not going to breathe nearly as well as the 3.5s, but overall, you got Asics Flight Foam in there, which is just perfect foam, versus the harder foam in the Wilson. So, I mean, to me, I would go with the Court FF2, but that's preference. If you don't care if the shoe's stiffer, you just want a lighter shoe, then yeah, the 3.5 is fine. Yeah, the colorway is pretty cool. So this is a Brazilian artist, and his theme is cubism, like a Cuban theme. I'm not really sure what cubism is, but or I guess cubes maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not an artist, and I'm not an art fanatic, so I guess I should shut my mouth. But it is pretty neat. I got a ton of I don't know, compliments, but a ton of comments on it. I actually wore these to work about 3 days because I was getting a little bit of not heel pain, but just a little bit of just unforgiveness when I was playing in them, and I kind of wanted to see if it was just me during during that time, if I was just having some pain, or if the shoes were that unforgiving, and they were kind of unforgiving. So I did wear these to work a couple days, and I did get a ton of comments from patients about it. So I wouldn't say compliments, but definitely comments. Some compliments, some just comments. For size, why does it only get up with whole numbers? Because I am a size 10.5. It doesn't. I mean, these go half sizes from Wilson because these are 11.5s. So yeah, I mean, at least these. I'm not sure. Maybe in your area you can only get them in whole numbers. Maybe they don't carry the half size. It's just because stock is so low right now. But I know here, at least in the United States, they are coming in half sizes. So can I review the Hypercourt Express? Yeah. So the Hypercourt Express and the Ultra Shot 3s are pretty decent shoes from K-Swiss. I actually really, where are my K-Swiss Ultra Shot 3s? They're somewhere down there. K-Swiss shoes to me are a kind of a conundrum because they're not. My mother says cubism is an art featuring squares and straight lines. Thank you, Lenore Thomas, foot doctor Zach mother. She just texted me what they were. I guess she's watching the stream. So the Hypercourt Express does not breathe very well. I would like to review them. The last couple K-Swiss shoes I did, really nobody watched the video, but I guess I should do them just to kind of complete the K-Swiss lineup. So yeah, I can definitely do them, especially right now because there's not a lot of shoes coming out right now. So I definitely have time to kind of review all the other shoes I haven't gotten to yet. Would I be cool if I collabed with other YouTubers? Yeah, so I've actually been on Tweenerhead's stream. I talk to the guys from Essential Tennis sometimes, like we kind of talk back and forth. I'm not really sure what we'd do right now. I guess with what's going on in the world, it's kind of hard to, but I guess now that things are more opening up, we probably do something like that. I probably should. It'd be fun. I do a lot more with the Instagrammers of the world, like Craig Shapiro, and I was just on his podcast again. I do a lot of stuff with the Tennis Canada guys. So yeah, it would be fun. But yeah, I'm always open to it. And did the Diodora Blue Shield 5 and Raptor? Yeah, so Diodora Blue Shield 5, it's okay for sliding. I wouldn't say it's the best shoe in the world for sliding because of the herringbone pattern. It is flat under the big toe joint. I think they're just better shoes for sliding out there. I think you might tear through the inside of them if you slide too much. The Raptor Hyperpulse is decent. Remember that Vibram rubber on the Lotto Hyperpulse is really sticky. So it slides well on clay, but I don't know about a hard court. I gave mine, when I got mine for review, I gave mine to my dad because there's the midsole is so nice and he just had a knee replacement. And so I gave mine to him because I was thinking, because I always make him play on hard courts with me when I play with him because I want to review the shoes on hard court. And so I didn't want his knee given out. And so I gave him those shoes and they did phenomenal. Kind of protect, he has no pain with them, but he's definitely not a slider. And as soon as I would try to slide on them, they just grip too much. So I would say because of how grippy that rubber is on the Vibram, I don't think I would try it. Yes, Lorenzo, I am going to make a video on this. I'm actually going to do a real doctor explains how professionals slide on hard courts. I'm going to take that angle to it. Because there's a lot of different ways you can slide on a hard court and reasons to slide on a hard court and reasons why you shouldn't slide on a hard court. So I'm going to get into that, but I think I'm going to do it in terms of get a couple of videos of maybe Djokovic sliding or Federer sliding or Nadal sliding and compare it from grass, clay, and hard. Yeah. I would say too, the Court FF2, if you want to slide, that's probably the best shoe out there, as well as the Babolat Jet Mach 3s and the Head Sprint Pros. See the honeycomb pattern right here? This is probably the best thing for sliding right here. So just watch out with the Sprint Pros because they don't have a very stiff shank. So you're going to need a lot of foot strength to use those. All right. For size, why does it only go up to whole numbers on the website? Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, like I said, I got mine in an 11.5. It just may be what's available in your area. Like I said, I know stock is so low right now. I know a lot of companies are just pushing out just kind of their most common sizes, and that's it. And it probably is going to get worse up until the holidays. So I'm not sure. It just probably is your area. Let's see here. Oh, the Superfeet Orange. Yeah, Superfeet Orange is good. I think my wife uses the greens, and she says the greens are better. But I like the oranges better. I like Power Step better than both of them. But yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's been fun to make them. Mateo, this is live. You are on the air. How are you doing? All right. What is better, in my opinion, the Solution Speed FF or the Gel Resolution 8? No question, Solution Speed FF. The Gel Resolution 8, which is right here. The Gel Resolution 8, if you're flat-footed, if you're more of a neutral foot, I'd say more on the flat side, then these are one of the best shoes out there. I mean, in all honesty, I think if you're flatter footed, the Gel Resolution 8 is probably one of the better shoes out there. Even if you just have a little bit of an out flare to your foot, if you like walk a little bit duck footed, they're great. If you're neutral to more high arched, you're just going to slip out of that heel cut more. I've had more people tell me about how they're slipping out of the heel counter. And I was actually really glad to hear it, because I didn't know if I was just the only one, and the people that I was talking to about it were the only ones. And I don't want to give any bad press to a shoe or to a company, because I mean, someone works really hard on this shoe to make it. That's why you don't hear me getting really negative on a lot of shoes. I try to find what's good and what's bad about them, and I try to make it very straight laced, because it's it's hard to make a shoe, and somebody designed that. So I don't love them personally. My father loves the Gel Resolution 8s, especially the clay version right here. That's the clay version. He loves the Gel Resolution 8, especially the clay. That's the only shoe he plays with right now on clay, because right now for his foot on clay, those are the best things for his joints, and he kind of feels like he's got a little more spring in his step in them. I have another guy I'm buddies with who's the head of the emergency room at the hospital that I work at, and I actually put him into the Gel Resolution 8s because of his foot type, and he's, like I said, he thinks like I'm a genius for putting them in them. It's just that they just matched with his foot really well. Somebody with a higher arch, I just don't love them. The Solution Speed FF, though, is kind of an all-around great speed shoe. It's got decent durability in the midsole for somebody with a higher arch. It's got decent durability in the midsole for a lighter weight shoe. I have heard, there was a comment today, I haven't responded to it yet, but someone was talking about how the Solution Speed FF has been ripping from the midsole and upper. I'm guessing there's maybe some bad batches coming out from that. Maybe like one warehouse or one factory, it just isn't making them very well, because that typically tells me if the shoe is tearing from here, like this area here, if this is tearing from the midsole right here, that usually tells me that there was an issue with the glue in the shoe, not the shoe itself. So, and like I said, these companies are really trying to get shoes out there because the supply is so low. So I think mistakes are getting made. But traditionally, the Solution Speed FF to me is a top tier shoe. The original Solution Speed I thought was garbage, but the Solution Speed FF2 or the Solution Speed FF is fantastic. I can say it's garbage now because the update was just so darn good. Still doesn't breathe great, but the Gel Resolution 8 doesn't breathe as well as the Solution Speed FF. So that's a really long answer to that question. Do you have the same problem I got with the Vapor Cage 4? I get close to an hour and a half. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. I think in the Versus video I did between these and I don't want to say it was the Vapor Next or the original one I did, the original Versus. Remember, this 2-piece tongue here is going to put an unbelievable amount of pressure on the inside of your foot. When that does that, your leg is going to start to twist, right? For lack of a better word. It's called torsion, but it's going to start to twist. And it's going to cause it's either going to cause leg pain, it's going to cramp the outside of your foot. Those are kind of the two things that can happen. You switch to Octane. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I definitely on those, because I think that's just regular Nike Phylon, especially in the heel. I actually like the design of the midsole of the Vapor Cage 4 a lot in terms of the foam, where the Zoom Air unit is, the stack height. I think it's great. It's just everything else, the shape of the shoe is just all off. And that's why Rafa doesn't play them. Can I please compare the pros and cons of Asics Flight Foam versus Wilson Foam? So Asics Flight Foam is more of an elastic foam. Flight Foam, it's kind of like Zoom X foam almost. It's kind of like New Balance Fresh Foam, but a little denser, a little more resiliency, a little more pop. That's why all Asics shoes, when you get them on, it feels like they got a little bit of a spring to them, right? Asics Gel, like the GEL, all that, I mean, Asics Gel is only this big. It's only this little stuff in here. I mean, Asics Gel, I mean, it's like nothing really. I don't really think, yeah, here it is. Here's the little blue Asics Gel right here. That's Asics Gel. This guy right here. I mean, that's it. So, like, that's like nothing. You know what I mean? If you weigh over 150 pounds, you can bottom right through it. But Asics Flight Foam is phenomenal. I mean, it's a real marvel of chemistry. Wilson foam is just a hard EVA foam. There's really nothing to it. It's a little more cheaper to produce. It's a little lighter, obviously, than Asics foam. So you got to throw that into there. That's great that it's lighter, but just a little unforgiving. That's why I say put an orthotic in. Let's see. Hey, Josh, long-time listener, first-time caller. We say that all the time in Pittsburgh. Or my Cord FF2 is good for my plantar fasciitis. I don't know. Flight Foam is good for plantar fasciitis because it's so elastic. It's really forgiving. The Cord FF2s are not the best shoes for heel pain in general, just because of the slipper tongue. That slipper tongue allows a lot of movement back and forth from your ankle. So the more twisting, the more your heel is going to get strained. So I wouldn't say they're the greatest things for heel pain. If you want to see the best ones, I do have a video on that. The Ultimate Tennis Shoe Guide 2021. Go in there and they have a ton of shoes that I really like for that. It's like an Asics stream tonight. Zach, I have the Asics Gel Resolution 8 and recently started to feel a sore knee and discomfort. More than likely, you're slipping out of the shoe. That's what I would think. You just need a shoe that doesn't slip. Try the Cat's Cradle or the Runner's Knot and see if that helps seat your heel back in. Otherwise, you're probably needing something with a higher heel counter, like the K-Swiss Ultra Shot 3s, Diodora Blue Shield 5s, even these, even the Cord FF2s. Just with something that's going to seat your heel in. I can't tell you how many people have told me the Gel Resolution 8, they're slipping, they're having different types of pain. And the thing I don't like to hear is when people say the Gel Resolution 8, it's a terrible shoe, it sucks, it's made bad. It's not. It's just made for a very certain foot type. And if you are that foot type, you are going to love them. If you're not that foot type, you're going to hate them. When I do my top 5 shoes videos, I always get people saying why I hate you. Why didn't you not say the Asics Gel Resolution 8? Because it's only good for half the people out there. So if you're one of the people that like them, great. If you're not, you'll know pretty quick. Like I knew pretty quick when I was reviewing them that they were not a good shoe for me. But I try not to, in my videos, talk too much about my personal beliefs in terms of the fit of the shoe, because that's my foot. I try to talk about what they are going to feel like for different people. That's why I always say, like, they're good for this person, they're bad for this person. Because everyone's going to have a different opinion on fit. In terms of playability, I feel like I have a good enough authority to talk about the playability of the shoe and the durability, of course, and definitely the materials. Like I know everything about shoe materials more than anybody should know. But in terms of fit, it all comes down to you. What feels good in your foot. That's why you never hear me say, like, these have a great fit, because they have a great fit for somebody, not everybody. It's also hilarious because the Vapor Cage 4, you can't slide on hard courts, even though, yeah, it is a sliding shoe. It depends on the hard court. I know that if I play on slicker hard courts, like a faster hard court, the Vapor Cage 4 will slide like crazy. And it's really good. That jagged pattern, this kind of regenerative pattern, slides excellent for me on a slick hard court. But yeah, if you're playing on a grittier hard court, or maybe the humidity is doing something to you, then yeah, they'll probably stick like rubber, or stick like glue. Stick like glue. All right. Hey, Zach, love your vids. Hey, from Brazil. So I bet you know the Britto artist. I was searching for a new tennis shoe since my Game Court Adidas started to get bad. I chose the Vapor Cage 4 because of your videos. Thanks a lot. See, there's someone here that likes obviously is sending me a comment that loves the Vapor Cage 4. So different strokes for different folks. What are some good shoes for overpronated feet? Check out my Ultimate Tennis Shoe Guide 2021. There is a literal section with that exact name, best shoes for overpronation. There is a ton of them. What are the main differences between Diadora Blue Shield 5 and the Raptor Hyper Pulses? Where can you buy the Raptors? Okay, the Raptors is like finding a needle in a haystack. So probably lotto.it. That's where I would go. I'd probably go to the Lotto Italian website and just get it translated to whatever country you live in or whatever language you speak. The Raptors are going to cost you $220 US, and then you're going to have to pay for shipping. So they're expensive. So right now, unless you really, really want them, I'd probably wait until they come to a different retailer. The differences between the Blue Shield 5 and the Raptors. The Raptors are a better engineered midsole. They have a much thicker EVA in there. They've got 2 different levels of EVA. The fit's a little bit more customized. And the uppers on the Blue Shield 5s are a little more comfortable. The Blue Shield 5s play a little lower to the ground. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. When I did my top 5 video, the reason the Blue Shield 5s are number 1, I thought that they accommodated more feet and they were cheaper for as good of a shoe as it was. That's the only reason why. Otherwise, they're both phenomenal shoes. But yeah, good luck getting the Raptors right now. I know on lotto.it, I think I have a coupon code for them. So that's, you can try that, but it's still going to be super expensive, unfortunately. Any tips on cleaning orange clay out of shoes without damaging the uppers? Made the sake of playing this, mainly some white shoes. Yeah, actually, this is ironic. I actually have a video on this. It's a video. They're actually orange shoes with green clay on them. So just look on my channel page. It's like, I think it's Foot Doctor cleans clay-soaked shoes or cleaning clay-ruined tennis shoes without ruining the uppers. I have an entire video on it. What makes clay shoes and hardcore to hardcore shoe? So clay shoes are usually all herringbone, whereas a hardcore shoe, a lot of times the outsole is, you get different patterns, like a wave. Usually a hardcore sole is much harder than a clay sole. A clay sole is sometimes a little bit of softer rubber, but usually a clay outsole is just very thin herringbone, so it can dig into the clay. Whereas on a hardcore, you can get all sorts of patterns. Have I tried the Joma Slam? No, I've only tried the T Ace Pro. I'd like to try more Joma shoes. I got to see if I can, when I order, because I order them from the Spanish website, I had to make sure that they'll actually get here right now. Shipping is just so crazy. Toothbrush and alcohol. I don't know if I'd use alcohol, but yeah, toothbrush is a great tool. What is my most favorite tennis shoe from right now? Right now, my favorites, Court FF2, Blue Shield 5s. This is the shoe, if you notice, these aren't cut open. These are my actual shoes right now. This is the Court FF2. So I'd say Court FF2 right now, GP Turbo, Diadora Blue Shield 5. I'm 14. I don't know too much about tennis shoes. I want to get a tennis shoe. Watch your videos, make sure. Yeah, honestly, it's just whatever fits your foot the best. Remember, you're young and healthy, and your joints and everything aren't hurting like mine are. A 35-year-old old man who's overweight. So you can get away with a lot different. You can get away with a lot more shoes than a lot of other people in this community can. It's crazy how you cut up shoes. I couldn't get myself to cut up a shoe after all the money spending on them. Yeah, but I mean, I'm doing it for the channel. Any money the channel makes goes back into cutting the shoes open. I don't plan on using them after I do it. And to me, with a shoe collection, I'm fine with a collection of shoes that has them half cut off. So it's just for the channel. Hey Mel, how's it going? Great channel. Thank you. My question, any mid to high or high top shoes for tennis other than the Amplifield 2.0 and the Stycon? Yeah, the Prince. If someone in the chat wants, I forget the name of the Prince high top, but I used to have them back in high school. And they're awesome. The T22 or the T20, the Prince T something. They're awesome shoes. I think right now Tennis Warehouse has them. This isn't a plug for Tennis Warehouse, but I think Tennis Warehouse has them. So I would go with those. Other than that, you're basically looking into basketball shoes. If you can find the Adidas Stycon BOA version, they're phenomenal. I wouldn't get the Stycon, just the regular elastic Stycon, but if you can get the BOA one with the click closure, then those are phenomenal high top tennis shoes. Yeah, I don't like the Amplifield 2.0s at all, just because it's so elastic and they're low to the ground feeling, and some people like them. I know a few people. Really like them that play on carpet, the Amplifeels. But I think if you're going to go with a high top shoe, try to find the BOA on eBay or go with the Prince. What was the name of my site again? It's just youtube.com/footdoctorzach. Oh, for overpronated feet, it's just the Ultimate Tennis Shoe Guide 2021. It's a video on this channel. The 3.5s, I think, just breathe a little bit better than the 3.0s. And the uppers are just a little bit more accommodating than the 3.0s. Other than that, I mean, remember, this mid and outsole on the Rush Pros 3.5 is the same one as on the Amplifeel. This is an Amplifeel. So Wilson kind of recycles that midsole and outsole, which is fine because it's good, but they just kind of recycle it. Got 2 pairs of the Court Jam Bounce after going through my solution speeds. Court Jam Bounce is a great shoe. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, you are welcome. Let's see. How do I compare the durability between the Ubersonic 4s and the Vapor Pros? Interesting. Neither of them, I guess. I've had so many people tell me recently that their Ubersonic 4s are just getting torn up within 1 to 2 hours of playing. The upper, if they're any bit of a toe dragger, the uppers are just getting worked over. So probably the Vapor Pros right now, I'd say, is a little more durable just because they have the plastic clip on them. They have a little bit better durability guard. Neither of them are the most durable shoes. The midsoles on both of them are going to flatten out pretty quick. I'd say the Ubersonic 4s are going to bottom out faster than the Vapor Pros, but those are race day shoes. They are not durability shoes. Anything. For value, go with the Gel Resolutionator of the Lotto Raptor, way more comfortable, but both perform excellent. Yeah, so this is my dad here, and he's the one that played in both of them. And I mean, honestly, he plays really well with both shoes. His foot type fits the Gel Resolutionate really, really well. Hey, Zach, I'm also from Brazil. Hey, how's it going? What do you think about cushioning insoles for sneakers? Yeah, I mean, I don't love anything that puts more between you and the midsole of the shoe than is absolutely necessary, because that's where you get court feel from, is from your foot feeling the midsole. That's why companies like Nike are putting drop-in midsoles in like the Nike GT cut, because your foot is now directly on the midsole. Now, I'm not a huge fan of drop-in midsoles, and that's a whole other debate, and people have thumbed down my drop-in midsole video like it's going out of style, but the cushioned insoles are going to make it more comfortable to play in, for sure. The harder, thinner orthotics or insoles are going to give you more pop, more performance, and they're going to allow you to kind of feel the shoe a little bit better. So if you're going to put a cushion insole in, like I have cushioned insoles in my work shoes. They're cork insoles, just because all I'm doing is standing around all day, or I'm standing and sitting. But for playing tennis, for me personally, I want my foot on the insole of the shoe, or I want my foot on something stiff on the shoe. I used to play with the Nike basketball shoes, the LeBron 16. LeBron 16 was a good shoe. I really enjoyed the big Air Zoom unit in the forefoot. I feel like a trampoline, any shoes like that made for tennis. The Nike GP Turbo. The only bad thing is when you have too much air in the forefoot. So if you look at my video on the Zoom Freak 3 and you'll watch the first time I played in them, I sprained my ankle. Because you got too much air in the forefoot, it becomes way unstable. So just watch out for that. I would say though, if the LeBron 16 is the shoe that you were really connecting with, I would say either the Nike GP Turbo or the Adidas Harden might be a good pickup, because the boost foam in the Harden it kind of feels almost like the LeBron 16. But I would probably go with the GP Turbo just because that's kind of what it's a similar feel. Yeah, thank you. Most budget shoes you review pretty much unavailable, still expensive in the Philippines. Yeah, it's hard right now, especially with all the shipping problems. I just did a video on all the shipping problems. You can check that out. But there's, right now, a lot of the discount shoes aren't even discounted here in the United States anymore. They're jacking prices up too, just because there's more supply. There's no supply and a ton of demand. What would you say are lightweight and durable shoes, if any? Lightweight, durable shoes? Yeah. Title of the video, Rush Pro 3.5. Just remember, you're going to sacrifice some comfort. But I would say, if I was going to describe these in one word or one sentence, it'd be lightweight and durable. Other ones would probably be Asics Solution Speed FF, probably the most durable lightweight shoe, but I don't really even think they hold a candle to these in terms of durability. Like I said, you're gonna sacrifice comfort. All right, moving on. We got a ton of questions. It's great. What tennis shoes are good for slightly flat and pronated feet? Shoes with good art support. Like I said, I have a video on this, Ultimate Tennis Shoe Guide 2021. I have an entire list. I would start running through them right now, but I know I'd forget something. So just make sure you click into that video, click right into I have it time stamped. You can check it out. I think it's like a 30-second thing. It has all the shoes that come down. But my favorite's GP Turbo Sole Court Boost. All right, I'm losing the chat here. Can you recommend a shoe? Can you comment on shoe rotation for better feeling feet? It depends on your foot. So if the shoe is more inflared and your foot's more inflared, it's going to be great. If you're flat and it's inflared, you're going to get pain on the lateral side of your foot. It kind of depends. So check out the video, how to find the best shoe when buying online, or how to match your shoe size or match your foot shape with shoe size. I have a video on actually how to match the shape of the shoe with your foot. It's pretty easy to do, and you can do it buying online or buying in person, but it's matching the shape of the individual shoe to your individual foot. How's the GP Turbo compared to the FF2? They are apples and oranges. The GP Turbo is a trampoline. The Court FF2 is more of a court feel type shoe. One is made for really low to the ground, kind of stalking type play. The other one is made more for bouncing around. It just kind of depends. GP Turbo is great, way too narrow for me. Yeah, the GP Turbo is a tapered shoe. I found that they did break in after a while for me. Even I actually got a pair that was a half size small on me. At one point, I was using them for something else, and I was even able to break those in after a while. It just takes a while because they are tapered. I'm 13. I use an RF97. Wow, you must be pretty strong. But I feel like I could use an easier racket. Yeah, I should have read the whole thing. I'd just go to the 97 mid from there. My dad plays with the 97 light, and he has it weighted up almost to the mid, which is why I don't know why he just didn't go with the mid. But if I were you, because I used to play with the RF97 too, I went to the head Radical Pro, and I've not looked back. The Radical Pro has been infinitely better for me than the RF97, except on slice backhands. Nothing, I can't get my slice backhand to bite like it did with the RF97. I could knife it with the RF97. I could literally put it on a dime. I could just put a little dime on the court and I could hit it perfectly. The head, the Radical Pro, I sail them all the time now, so I got to work on that, but I would say that's just my personal thing. I would say from the RF97, you're looking for an easier stick, go with one of the Pro models, or the Instinct. The Head Extreme Tour is a great step down from RF97, where like I said, just go with the 97 mid. It's just like the same racket, just not as much plow through, at least from my opinion when I did a video on them. Coaching tennis nearly 9 hours a day. Most comfortable tennis shoe for these long days, probably the GP Turbo Adidas Sole Court Boost or the Lotto Raptor. If you're just standing all day, I'd want to be on air. Like the GP Turbo, remember it's got a Zoom Strobel unit in it, so you're literally just standing on air in them. That's probably what I would go with. It's probably save your feet the most. Or get custom orthotics that have kind of a good contour to your foot, which would be great. Yeah, K-Swiss, I think I talked about this in one of my stories when I was asking for what was your favorite shoes. And I think the Ultra Shot 3s I may have not undervalued, but maybe glossed over a little bit and how good the foam was. They bottom out, just as fast as any other shoe, but while they're new, they are a really, really comfortable shoe. They just don't breathe very well. That's my only problem. Like, I wish they just put some vents in them. If they put some vents in them, then I think the Ultra Shot 3 or the Hypercourt Express, that'd be just as good as anything else out there. But if it's 80, 90, 100 degrees Fahrenheit out there, and you're in a black K-Swiss shoe, ask my father, because I gave him a pair of black K-Swiss shoes that I reviewed last year, and he couldn't wear them. He was soaking through his socks. So, K-Swiss in terms of comfort in the midsole, phenomenal. It's just, they're tough in the hot sun. Hey, Zach, thanks for awesome content. Thank you for watching. Do you believe the same shoes with different colors can contribute to different feel or durability to different compounds or color needs? You mean like a like racket string, like with the Yonex, the orange, because it feels so good? I don't think so. I think you can get a bad batch of like a white dye versus a red dye, maybe. I think in the rubber outsoles, I think you could probably get some more slick rubber the more paint they use in them. It's a really good question. I should test this out on a durability test. I don't know how I'd standardize it though. Um, but that's a really good idea, maybe to try to standardize that with maybe like just a mechanical arm that holds the Dremel up to the shoe. Um, but yeah, I mean, it definitely makes a difference in terms of the albedo of the shoe. ALBEDO, albedo. What albedo is how reflective a surface is. So something white like this is going to reflect a lot more heat. That's why the melting icebergs and the polar ice caps are a big deal, because when sun hits those, light is reflected back up. When it hits dark water, the heat is kind of trapped more. So same thing with a shoe. A lighter shoe is going to bounce more heat off of you. So I'd say in terms of breathability, not breathability, in terms of heat, yes. In terms of maybe the outsole durability, I'm going to test this. I got to figure out a way to do it. It's an awesome idea. I think so. Uppers and midsole, I think it's maybe just apples and, just 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Thoughts on basketball shoes for tennis? Harden step backs are a great shoe. Yeah, so I think tennis shoes for basketball are great. I think most tennis shoes have much better lateral stability than basketball shoes. Basketball shoes just have more bounce and more comfort, and they're better in the straightaways. So that's why basketball shoe is a basketball shoe. If you're going to play tennis in a basketball shoe, it better have a wide flange, and you better be playing on carpet or some sort of surface that's not going to tear them up. Because most basketball shoes, the rubber is only like 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter thick. So you're going to bottom it out really quick. I like them for people that need more under their foot. So like I did the Next Level Future Naturals by Adidas. They're the laceless shoe from Adidas that actually works. And like, look at these things. I mean, look how much more boost you're getting through the shoe. Your little light strikes, drop in midsole. I mean, these things have the nice ankle pods in them. I mean, these are phenomenal. These are awesome. But then look at the outsole. It's like 2 millimeters. I mean, there's no way you're going to grip anything in these besides maybe like a not so sanded carpet. So yeah, I like them if you want a higher top feel, if you want more bounce. But just remember, watch my Zoom Freak 3 video, because I test all my basketball shoes on a tennis court, because that's the kind of footwork that I'm really comfortable with. So I really can evaluate how a shoe is going to act if I just hit against a wall with it versus, I mean, I play basketball in them too, but if you watch, the basketball shoes that do best on a tennis court for me are the ones that look like a tennis shoe, like the Kyrie 7s. Whereas a lot of the more streamlined basketball shoes, Jordan 36, the Jordan Witness, the Zoom Freak 3, they just don't have a lot of lateral stability. So I would really just watch it with those. Maybe for the racket question, maybe the Clash. Yeah, the Clashes are good rackets. I found that the Wilson Clash, I could get pace and I could get power, but I couldn't really push people around. Like my weight of shot just wasn't there. No matter how hard I swung, I was just getting pushed around in them. My dad, if he's still in the chat, can vouch for that. When I was playing in the Clash, he was just moving me back and forth, and I'd be swinging my arm out and just couldn't get the ball. So they are easy rackets to play in, though, for sure, 100%. Demo shoes. I don't know if anybody will let you demo a shoe, although somebody said in one of my live streams back in the winter that Nike will take back any shoe. So if you buy it from Nike, they'll take back any shoe. I don't know if that's correct, but that's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, no. I mean, because once you use them, I mean, the rubber is already starting to degrade. Remember, once that base layer of film on the rubber goes, the shoe's used then. So plus, they might stink after you use them. So no, unfortunately. But like I said, check my video out on how to match the shoes to your foot shape, and you'll have much better success. Do you know any good durable shoes like Nike Cage 4? Yeah. Court FF2 is really durable. The Diadora Blue Shield 5 is really durable. The Adidas Soul Court Boost is probably the most durable shoe out there. And the 3.5's really good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to making that one too. When I use RF97, like the weight. Yeah, you know, I played with a kid when I was in high school. He played with the old Federer. The like the old the first. It was the first one he played with besides the 80 like the old Pro Staff Classics, and he played really well on them, but he ended up getting tennis elbow. Oops. Let me just get the. I want to make sure I'm not missing comments. It just sent me down to the bottom. Okay. So I have an idea when the new Strike Force. No idea. I don't think the third generation is all that old, is it? Someone might correct me, but I have no idea. Especially with rackets, typically they come out around the Grand Slams, or what usually happens is with racket companies or shoe companies is they will show the racket at the Australian Open, and then it won't come out until like Indian Wells, or I almost said Pacific Life Open, which shows my age. But yeah, it'll come out like around Indian Wells or Miami. So that's typically what that's typically how that goes. Do you think the Babolat Jet Mach 3s are durable enough for a high school season? Yeah, I think for a season, yeah. Remember, the Jet Mach 2s, the EVA in those just bottoms out like crazy. The Jet Mach 3s, they actually did add something to them. I don't know if that's just gimmick or if they just said that, but they definitely feel different than the Jet Mach 2s. The Jet Mach 3s are also the most comfortable shoe I've played in this year. That, the Lecoq Sportifs, and the GP Turbo is probably the three most comfortable shoes I played in this year. If you haven't watched the Lecoq Sportif LCST01 video, at least the teardown, you should check it out. If you're looking for a comfortable shoe, the materials that shoe is made of is so cool. It's so interesting how they made them, even though they really made me angry by ghosting me when I was trying to get a shoe because I couldn't get one in the United States. It took me forever to get one. The materials they use is such a cool shoe. I really geeked out on those because just me as a foot doctor, and those shoes really really made me kind of geek out on just the materials they use. So check those out. But yeah, I'm going down a tangent on those. But yes, the Jet Mach 3s. And what's nice about the Jet Mach 3s, I literally just had them up here. The Jet Mach 3s don't have that Kevlar upper anymore. This is a much more kind of accommodative upper. It's a little more comfortable. Not as durable, as you can see. My Dremel ripped right through it. But the midsole foam is super. I mean, this is just so comfortable. And the durability up here, if you slide, is awesome. But the best thing about the Jet Mach 3s is when I bend the big toe, look how that accordion pattern goes. So you're getting all that durability in the upper, but it also moves so well versus some other durability guards like the Cord FF2. Like all people say is a shoe bends and snaps and pops versus the Jet Mach 3. It doesn't do any of that because that accordion pattern right here. It's so cool. This is a really neat shoe. I should have done I did a live stream review on those two way back, and I don't think really it was like my first live stream I ever did, so I was nervous, so I didn't give them. I don't think I gave them their due, and they were just such awesome shoes. So yeah, I should probably do another review of them. But yes, I think they'd be good for a high school season. Good luck with your season, by the way, this year in the spring. I can't find the clay court shoes in my area. Which one's better for clay between the Asics Court FF2 and Gel Resolution 8? In terms of the all court shoe, the Court FF2 by a long shot. It's 2 years old now. Yeah, rackets are usually 2 to 3 years old until they get a new one. I would think right now with how supply chains are running, look at how bad was it Yonex, the new E-Zones were having a really hard time. They couldn't get it to the retailers. Like they had the demo rackets of them forever. And you like saw the Instagram influencers or whoever was getting them and playing with them and having a great time. And they couldn't get out. It was the V-Core, like the new red ones, and they couldn't get them out. So a lot of these companies might be waiting until all the ports get cleared out until they can actually ship the rackets to people. So you might see them. You might see the new rackets and new shoes and things at the Australian and at the ATP Cup, and but they might not release them until they know they can get them in your hands. Because remember, they want to sell them. Do I have thoughts on the Adidas Court Jam Bounce? Yes, I do. I think they're a step under the Soul Match Bounce. Oh yeah, they're a big step under them. No, wait, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Defiant Generation. The Court Jam Bounce and the Soul Match Bounce. No, I think the Court Jam Bounce is a better shoe than the Soul Match Bounce. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the Defiant Generation shoes. My bad. The Court Jam Bounce. So here's the Dominic Team Customs I made. So remember, that's a Court Jam Bounce outsole. That's the Sole Court Boost upper. So remember, Dominic Thiem, Gary Muguruza are playing with the midsole and outsole of this shoe. They're not playing with the Sole Match Bounce midsole and uppers. The Court Jam Bounce, I think, is a great shoe, and it's under $100. I would say if I had to pick between the two, I'd pick the Court Jam Bounce every day, for sure. I don't have a video on the Court Jam Bounce specifically, but I do have a video where I made that custom shoe out of the Court Jam Bounce and Adidas Sole Court Boost. Look for that video because I do kind of review the Court Jam Bounce in that video, and I kind of talk about the reasons why professionals might use that versus other shoes. So, yeah, the Pure Arrow is what's coming for. Yeah, that's right, because the Pure Arrow was a little bit older, I thought. What strings do I recommend for the RF90? NXT maybe. Gut. I would think something with a very soft string. Gamma TNT. TNT Rough is a great string. I love TNT Rough. Why don't companies use straps? The Pro Pulse series is a great shoe. You mean the Roddick Pro Pulse? Really lucky for. Yeah, straps are great. They add weight to the shoe. They add bulk to the shoe. They make the shoe more expensive to produce. I mean, basketball shoes still use them. If you look at the KDs, they still have straps. I personally think that a midfoot strap is phenomenal. If you look at Roddick's old Reebok pumps, they had the strap on them. The Pro Pulses even had the Pro Pulse had the strap along the heel as well as the midfoot. So yeah, I think they're great. If I designed a shoe, mine would have a midfoot strap on it, 100%. I don't really care if they add bulk and if they don't look cool. I mean, remember also, if you look at kind of the design of shoes now, just kind of the aesthetics of tennis shoes, even basketball shoes right now, everyone's going for the real minimalist, low to the ground, very like futuristic lines, almost like the Art Deco type shoe. Like look at the Barricade, like look how low the upper is on the Barricade. Like why would you do that? The Ubersonic 4, like the uppers are like this. It's really small and they're real streamlined. They have really harsh lines, like real cut looking shoes. So I think the era of like the big bulky shoes is over for a little while in terms of design aesthetics. The only bad part is when you're playing tennis and basketball right now, especially the modern game, it's a very physical game and you need a shoe that can handle that. And a lot of these shoes can't. I wish they would too. How do I feel about Wilson raising their prices for all their gear? I don't love it. I don't love it because I have friends that are reps that rely on some of that money to sell those products, and now they're going to have a harder time selling it. I believe Wilson when they say that it's just they are having trouble sourcing materials and things. I mean, I believe them. I'm not sure why other companies aren't. You can't speak to that because you don't know what a company is going through, especially in these times. I mean, every company from the largest in the world down to the smallest have had to adjust their pricing, their schedules. They've had to move money around just because of supply demands. People, they're not having staff to work, and who knows, they may be having to give people raises to keep them in their jobs. You don't know. I mean, I don't love it, like I said, because it's going to ripple down, and I think they're going to lose a lot of business. Because remember, in terms of tennis rackets, like at least my personal opinion, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I don't think it really matters what kind of racket you use. As long as you're using something that's weighted to your swing style, like I can't play with a Wilson Ultra. It's not weighted to the way I swing a racket. But it wouldn't matter if I used the Extreme Tour, the Radical Pro, the RF97. Oh, the RF97 is a little heavy right now. Or the 97 Mid, the Prestige, the Gravity. It wouldn't matter. After a while, I get used to it, right? You just get used to what you play with, right? So I think as long as you're finding a racket that matches your swing style, if the Wilson racket is 20% or however, whatever they're raising their prices at, more expensive, and you can get a Yonex or a Babolat or a head racket for cheaper, you're going to go buy that. At least nowadays, I don't know if brand loyalty is what it was prior. So I think they're going to lose business. I feel bad for them if they're going through real struggles as a company. But Wilson's a pretty big company. I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. Adidas Sole Court Boost, is it time to stock up at $160? I don't know. Put it this way. If I went back in time in my DeLorean and I went back to college tennis and I had to buy one shoe, even if they were $160, I'd still buy them just because I like them that much. You don't know when the supply and demand thing right now is going to go away. I mean, this might be another year of this. You don't know. There was a guy that commented on my shoe video about like where your your sneakers are in the world, or why is there a shortage of sneakers right now. He said that some of the docks he works at they have a 10-year backlog right now on shipments. They're 10 years committed. So, is this going to last a couple months? Is it going to last a year or two? I don't know. So if it's a shoe you really like and you can wear and you're comfortable with it, and that's a really important thing for you, then yeah, I'd probably stock up on them. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you to spend all your money, but unfortunately, it's kind of the world we're living in right now. I mean, the blue shields are good for Achilles, I guess. They're not really good or bad for them. The Adidas Soulcord Boost with the boost foam in the heel and the lockdown in the ankle collar. To me, my opinion is they're a step above for that. Pro Pulse 3 was a bad shoe to break in. The plastic would cut into your heel until it got soft. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It did. But it was still cool looking. They had the American flag on them. Remember when Roddick had him with the American flag? And he had them before where they were like blue and gold. They were really cool. What's the difference between the Soulcord Bounce and the Diadora Blue Shield? There is no Soulcord Bounce. You mean my Soulcord, the one the team uses, and the Diadora Blue Shield 5s? It just depends. If you like Boost Foam and you like the Soulcord Boost, if you have more of a flat foot, you'll probably like the Soulcord Boost. To me, the Diadora Blue Shield 5 plays a lot better than the Soulcord Boost. Better playing shoe. The Soulcord Boost is a much more comfortable shoe and will protect your foot a little better. Playing tennis 3 times a week, 1 to 2 hours at a time. How many tennis-only shoes should someone own? I mean, most people own 1 or 2. Like I said, you just buy a new one when they bottom out. Do tennis shoes? No, I don't think they need rest days. I actually wouldn't want a fresh shoe all the time. I kind of want my broken in shoe. Unless you're sweating a lot, then yeah, you either need to buy a shoe dryer, you need to invest in something that'll air them out, or you need to have 2 pairs of shoes. So there's some people that sweat so much in their shoes they have to have 2 pairs of shoes. Other than that, nah. Yeah. Like some people really, and like I actually have a video on this, how to prevent this. It's actually my standard thumbnail with my 2 feet, but the shoes are on fire. You can check out that video and that'll show you how to prevent some of that. But yeah, I mean, if you stink up your shoes or if you're sweating a ton, then yeah, I would probably get a new pair. Pepsi. I've been talking a lot. Yeah, and a lot less wear and tear. Yeah, for sure. I would say if you're going to wear 2 pairs of shoes, they probably should be the same shoe. I don't like using 2 different types of shoes. I think it throws off your serve motion because you're lower or higher. And so even that little bit on your toss, if you don't have a really grooved serve and you're prone to double faulting, then same with a jump shot. Like you play basketball, you practice in 1 pair of shoes, then you play a game in another pair of shoes, your jump shot's going to be off because you're just that little bit higher to the, and so any little bit of that is, and people say, oh, that's minutia. It might be minutia, but for a lot of people, that's the difference between double faulting and, having a good first serve percentage and second serve percentage. This is on YouTube, and it's going to answer some of these questions on YouTube here. Of all the shoes on the market, what are your top 3 in 4-foot cushioning? GP Turbo, Adidas Soulcord Boost. Probably the Asics Gel Resolution 8, actually, 4-foot cushioning. Daniel says, I was hoping you review this shoe. Is there an upper difference on the special editions? No, the 3.5s are all the same. It's just the Brittos have the cubism, as my mother told me, was lines and cubes. Thank you, Mom. That is one fine tennis sneaker. Yeah. So yeah, the other question was, are they light? Yeah, they're 12.7 ounces. The width on these is pretty standard. The width on the Rush Pro 3.5s is a true mid. If you're a wider foot, get ready to go up a half size. And if you're real wide, find another shoe. At least, like I said, the uppers will break in, but that plastic clip on the outside, your 5th Met right here. I gotta name this thing. But right here on your 5th metatarsal, it's going to start to dig in on that plastic clip, unfortunately. Yeah, and then someone said on YouTube, these were pretty uncomfortable. Yeah, like I said, I think the Rush Pro 3.5s, if you're not using an orthotic, you're gonna have problems in the long term with some heel pain, maybe some ball of foot pain, just because that foam is it's just unforgiving. But like I said, it's light and it's super durable. So if you want a shoe for the long haul, get them. If I had to choose a shoe that maybe was a tad too snug or tight versus a tad too big, okay, What should you choose for tennis? That's a good question. I'd probably choose the bigger shoe just because I could wear 2 pairs of socks. I could lace them tighter. I could use a different lacing technique. When they're really small and your foot is cramping, it's really hard to get comfortable with that. Like who wants to be cramped? I remember this was really interesting that this is brought up on this stream because when I was in college, the men's tennis team had all contracted Wilson shoes. So we were using these, I forget the name of them. They were white and black. They were like the most standard Wilson shoe, and they were like this high off the ground. They were super low profile, but they were kind of the same. They weren't as forgiving as these, but they were pretty narrow in the forefoot. I could not wear them. I was cramping so bad. I had to take them off. I had to go buy I think I bought like a pair of Barricade 3s. Like that's what I ended up buying instead because I just bought it with my own money. I didn't take the team shoes. I couldn't play in them. And there were a few other guys on the team too that just could not use them. And I remember there was one female player, Kayla, who ended up going on to NCAAs. She couldn't play them either. We all ended up getting the Barricades. So, I would go with the half size bigger, me personally, just because I don't want my foot cramping during playing. Because that sometimes it becomes unplayable. Same with basketball. Same with running. Yeah, that's actually a great idea. And they're free. You can get them with pretty much anything. That's actually a really good tip. I think I might screenshot that and steal that and put it on my stories, Mel. Sorry, but that's a really good idea. I didn't even think about doing that. That's a very good tip. See all these things you're getting on these live streams. What is it between the Blue Shield 5 and the Mythos Blue Shield 5? I don't know, because the only one available to me is the Speed Blue Shield 5. I would have to look at the Mythos. I honestly don't know. I think, like I said, in my area, only one's available, so I only go with the one. But I will look that up, and I will do a story on it if on my stories page once I kind of get it. I mean, Blue Shield 5. I mean, the Blue Shield line of tennis is kind of the same except for the flies. So I'll look it up. I have really, really bad pain in my feet, which I feel in my midfoot area, and I've tried every shoe in the market, but nothing's really working. Is it simply the case that my feet are bad for tennis? Yeah, that could be it. Remember, most shoes are not going to fix foot pain. You can get a shoe that is better or worse for it, but if you've got some specific issue, like you could have something that's going on underneath the surface that just needs to be fleshed out by a physician. You need an exam. Also, a lot of times, remember, you need an orthotic to accommodate for that stuff, like a custom orthotic. So I'd say, yeah, you probably do have a bad foot for tennis. That doesn't mean you can't play tennis. That doesn't mean you can't be comfortable and be pain-free, but I'd definitely just see a doctor and see if there's not something under the surface going on, because it probably is. Any thoughts on toe separators? I got a pair for $12. That's expensive. And wear them after exercise. Historically, it feels like plantar fasciitis. At least biomechanically, there is nothing that connects the separation of the toes with plantar fasciitis. You may think you have plantar fasciitis, but you may have something different going on. It could be placebo effect, or it could just be that it separates your toes enough that you're not putting excess pressure on one area of your foot. I'd say if you like them, use them. I don't know if they really do anything besides keep moisture out and stop you from getting athlete's foot. But I would say if you're comfortable with them, remember, different strokes, different folks. Everyone's got a different, remedy for things. So if they're working for you, I say go for it. Steffi Graf is the GOAT of tennis, in my opinion. I'd say overall, probably Steffi Graf. I'd say on the men's side, it's hard. I remember somebody said something on Twitter once. It was Nadal was the most dominant, Federer is the best tennis player, and Djokovic is the GOAT. And then somebody else said, like, if you had to put your life on one men's player in their prime, who would you go for? Take all your personal opinions out of it. In their prime, who's unbeatable? And at least for me, I'm like, well, I'd want to say Federer, but because I'm a huge Federer fan. But I'd probably say Djokovic. I mean, when he's on, I mean, it's just you can't get the ball past him. He's boring to watch. I mean, to me, Djokovic is one of the most boring people to watch. But you can't deny, you can't get the ball past him. And he never gives up on points. I mean, that Wimbledon final, he's down 40-15 on grass, and Federer's got a first serve. How do you come back from that? Like, like I said, personal opinions of these players aside, I think that's probably the best description. Nadal was the most dominant. Djokovic is the best of all time, and Federer was the actual best tennis player. And in terms of all around, I still think Steffi Graf was probably the GOAT, followed very closely by Navratilova. I think in terms of just, all around. But yeah, I think on the men's side, it's so hard to tell. And especially because, Djokovic actually came up when Nadal and Federer were so dominant, and he still was able to carve a path through that. So that's even another point for him. Like I said, I'm not giving any personal opinions on these people aside, because like I said, at least me personally, my favorite two players of all time, or my three favorite players of all time, Roddick, Rafter, Federer. So I'd love to say Federer. But I think, it's Djokovic. He's the most, he's unbeatable sometimes. If Rafa and Federer, even when they're really on, there's still a hole somewhere in their game that you could exploit if you're at the top of the game. Whereas in Djokovic's case, sometimes there's just no holes. He's a brick wall. Any idea if the sole court boost to women's is more narrow than the men's? I think it actually is more narrow in the midfoot, but I don't know if you would notice it. If it were me and I really wanted them, I would buy the women's. Like if it were me, that I still would go for it because it's still a wide base shoe. So Nadal and Clay, yeah, of course. Oh my God. There's no question. I don't think anyone's going to be as dominant as Nadal in our lifetimes. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, dominance. Even when he was like this year, when he was like crazy dealing with the Mueller-Weiss on clay, he still almost won that tournament. So that just shows you. Plus his game style with how much action he gets on the ball and how high the ball gets on so many people's rackets on clay on him, he could be at 50%, and it's still just because of the action he gets on the ball, for sure. Was the slip serving in the new Wilsons? Yeah, here, I'll play it for you. Yeah. I thought it was my racket, and I had to go back and watch this video again. But here, let me see if I can move this frame by frame. Yeah. See? My lead foot just slips out from underneath of me. And that's just because of how hard the rubber is on these Wilsons when they're brand new. They're and those are gritty clay courts. Those courts at Glen Creek over there, they are really gritty, and those shoes still slipped. And I wasn't sweating all that much. Now, once I played in them a little bit, and once the rubber softened up, they were fine. But yeah. But yes, it was in the Wilson. So I have an extra pair of Jordans. I actually just cut mine in half, the Jordan 36s, and then I have the only other Jordans I have are the Jordan 1s right here that Elijah one is guarding. But yeah, no, I wish I did. But I was lucky to get my pair of Jordans from Nike because they only had like one or two left. Yeah, I was fine. If you look at my story, I actually have a story on this on the YouTube page. If you go on your mobile device and see the stories, I actually show I can't get my leg up that high anymore. I actually show the brush burn that I had on them. But yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to play in the Jordans, but the 36s, I'd wait for my review before you want to buy them, unless you're talking about the Jordan 1s, which those are rather expensive. I'm not cutting those open anytime soon. Zach, do you think other surfaces should be added to the current Grand Slams or tournaments in professional tennis, carpet, or artificial grass? I would love to see a carpet slam. I think that'd be so cool. I think that'd be awesome, especially because we've gotten away from the carpet season too. Remember the back 1/4 of the season after the US Open used to be on carpet. The Paris indoor used to be on carpet. Antwerp they were all on carpet. The problem is that hard courts right now are the most neutral surface, so it leads to the most accurate representation of what the tour is doing. Even grass anymore. Besides the footwork on it, the grass is so slow now. You might as well be playing on fast clay. So yeah, I would love to see another surface. I think carpet would be cool. Have one one tournament for each surface. I don't think rubberized hard courts is a good idea anymore, like the Australian used to be. That just leads, especially in the hot heat, that just leads to way too many knee. Look at Mark Philippoussis. So yeah, I would love to see. I just like playing tennis on carpet. I think carpet's like the best surface to play on. A good carpet is like the best surface. The sound is really nice. Footwork sounds good. It's comfortable. It's awesome. Let's see here. Yeah, My current shoes are the Pro Pulse Fury. Cool shoes. They are very fast and durable, but a little less on comfort. Yeah. Should I upgrade Jet Mach 3 as my shoe? If you like the Pro Pulse Fury besides the comfort, then if it were me, I would probably try the Pro Pulse. I'd probably try the Jet Mach 3s. Sorry. Yeah, because like I said, the Jet Mach 3s were a more comfortable shoe than just about any of the other Babolat's. Yeah, I mean, the year-end tournament used to be on... There was a few on carpet, if I remember, but then... Well, in the early I think they did the year-end tournament on carpet when it was in Shanghai before it went to Austin or Houston those couple times, and then it's been on hard. I don't know if it was ever on carpet. I had to look that back up. But yeah, I mean, that'd be awesome to see it on carpet. It'd be nice just to see more tournaments on carpet just to speed the game up a little bit, just so somebody with a serve and volley style could actually compete. I mean, right now the courts are basically, I mean, they're like flex tape. That's what you're playing on because the ball just doesn't move anymore. And that's what I think is maybe adding to the viewership in tennis going down a little bit is sometimes the matches can go a little slow. Let's see here. For a light player like me, I was looking for durability, the best shoe. I mean, just like any other durable shoe. I mean, like I said, the Rush Pro 3.5 is probably the most durable and lightweight shoes out there. The Solution Speed FFs are pretty durable for a lightweight shoe, but if you're lighter weight, you can get away with using a lighter shoe and not putting as much force on it. But the Court FF2s are also a mid-range shoe that'll really give you a ton of good durability. Have I tried the Trinity balls? Yeah, I have tried the Trinity balls. And the Trinity balls are fine, but they sound like they're dead. So when you hit it, it sounds like the ball is dead. So it kind of messes with you, kind of messes with your head a little bit when you're playing in them. They do last longer. And they're great for like teaching pros. And if you have a hopper of balls that you just want to use for a while, like they're good for serving practice because they'll last you a long time. But just get ready when you hit them just to feel like the ball is dead, like it has no air in it. So, all right. So I am leaving for vacation in a few hours tomorrow. So I am going to wrap this stream up so I can help my wife pack up for our trip. There will still be videos out next week. They're already loaded up onto YouTube. So, and I will still be checking all the comments. So I'll still be hanging out, but I might do some posts out. We're going out west, so we should be having some fun. I want to thank all of you for hanging out on the stream. This was a lot of fun doing all the Q&As. If you want to see more Q&As like this, make sure you just drop a comment or leave a like, just so I know you like them. You can even push the thumbs down button. I'm a big boy. I can take it. So if you did like it, if you want to see more live streams, do let me know. I was thinking of maybe starting to do live streams on Wednesday afternoons because I'm going to have a little more time in the day just to do like a Wednesday afternoon hangout. So we can maybe try to start doing that. If you'd like to see that, just let me know for sure. So everyone have a great day, great night, wherever in the world you've been tuning in from. Thank you so much again for hanging out. Thank you for my mother for teaching me about the Brazilian artwork on these shoes. If you have any other questions about the Rush Pro, please do not hesitate to leave a comment down below. This video is going to take about an hour to process because it was an hour and 17-minute live stream. So it is going to take a while to process, but once it does, just feel free to leave a comment. I will see them, and I will get to it as soon as I can. Yeah, next time. Yeah, right now it's Pepsi Max or Pepsi Zero Sugar right now because it's late. I am tired, and I need caffeine. I've been working all day. So I hope you guys have a great night. Thanks again for hanging out. I'll see you next time.